Hello everyone, back to today's first video, doing 5-day forecast for today's first video. As we're on Wednesday, having a detailed look at weather the next 5 days. Not going to be a huge amount going on for much of this 5-day forecast period. Actually, we're going to have sort of a lot of benign weather. We're going to be in a bit of a no man's land, really. We're trying to get winds into the east, actually. That's the main point. The area of high pressure is building strongly at the moment over Scandinavia, and we're very close to pulling in some genuinely quite cold and wintry easterly winds. We're just not going to quite come together. So that's going to leave us kind of stuck between the high pressure to the northeast, the low pressure out to the west, and kind of just in a no man's land of sort of nothing weather, really. But I suspect fog may become an increasing problem over the next few days. Things will liven up right at the very end of a 5-day forecast period, so late Sunday to Monday. That's when things start to happen, and we're going to bring some proper wet and windy weather in at the end of the 5-day forecast period, and then it'll turn a lot colder from the northwest. So, I'll get on with the detail for the next 5 days in a moment. Just say websites using 5-day forecast coming from theweatherout.com and weathertech.ly. You can find a link to both those websites on the links page. After this afternoon, we'll extend out beyond the 5-day forecast period and have a look at the weather for the next week to 10 days. We'll begin with the radar picture from the Weather Outlook. So we've got some showery rain down across the south of Ireland, just heading in towards southwest parts of England. Otherwise, a lot of dry weather until we meet this band of showery rain across eastern parts of the country. This is really proving to be a nuisance because it's not clear, and it's indicative of the high pressure that's actually sitting to our east. A wall of high pressure is to our east. It's stopping this weather front from progressing out into the North Sea as you would normally expect. So it's just sitting here across the east, producing damp conditions. Most of this rain is light. You can see from the bright colours there are a few heavier bursts mixed in, but it is a damp and quite cold scene over in the east. Otherwise, a lot of dry weather around today. Here's today's toxic pressure chart. So that's the high pressure over Scandinavia that's going to have a go over the next couple of days, getting the wind into the east, but won't quite be able to do it. But as I say, it is blocking the progress of this weather front across the eastern part of the country. Then we've got this next little area of low pressure down to the southwest. That's what's producing the rain for Ireland and the far southwest of England this afternoon. So we'll keep those damp and dreary, drizzly conditions going across the far eastern part of the country. We'll also have some patchy rain approaching the far southwest of Cornwall by this evening. Otherwise, plenty of dry weather. It is gradually turning brighter from the west across the central west parts of the country, but do watch out for the risk of some mist and fog patches developing in the west as we go through into this evening. Temperatures overall rather cool for central and northern parts of the country, just at sort of 4, 5, 6 degrees. Down in the south, it has been quite mild down there. Temperatures approaching 10 degrees, although I suspect those temperatures might start to drop back a little bit into this afternoon. Overnight tonight, we'll keep a lot of quiet weather going. That front still sort of lingers across the east. Any rain will become incredibly light, patchy across the east, but it'll stay fairly damp and drizzly, I think, on the eastern side of the country. Central western areas will have clearer spells. Could get quite cold, actually, with temperature going down close to freezing for parts of Scotland, Northern Ireland, Northern England, Wales, possibly into some parts of the Midlands as well. And there could be a few dense fog patches coming through as well tonight. So some of that could be freezing fog if it does form. Down in the far southwest of the country, a little bit of cloud and showery rain coming through down there. Temperatures reasonably mild in the east at around 5 degrees, but in the west it will be colder, down to freezing some northwest parts of the country. So there's a high pressure over Scandinavia that is taking over the weather pattern on Thursday, but it isn't quite able to get those winds into the east. So we remain stuck in what we call a CAL, and a CAL is essentially where you've neither got high pressure or low pressure across the country. You get any type of weather in a CAL, but normally it is fairly quiet. And at this time of year, often you do have to worry about fog. Now, eastern parts of the country will still have the legacy of that weather front on Thursday, bringing probably no more than a band of cloud and some patchy drizzle. Most of that should die out by the end of the day. And then otherwise, you just have plenty of dry weather coming through on Thursday. There'll be a mix of sunny spells, but also some low cloud. And again, we may have some dense mist and fog patches, which could linger throughout the day. Any lingering fog is going to make for a cold day, very cold day, with temperatures of just 1 or 2 degrees. Otherwise, probably seeing a temperature around 5 or 6, not too far from average, maybe a little bit below par for the time of the year. This sort of weather continues into Friday as well. Again, there's high pressure over Scandinavia. That's a proper Scandinavian high. Central pressure is 1,040 millibars. We really are very, very close to pulling in a genuine easterly wind, but just not quite happening. The Atlantic just remains a little bit too strong to allow those easterlies in. So again, we just remain stuck in kind of nothing weather really, not a lot going on. A little bit windier with some cloud and showery rain through parts of Ireland and western Scotland, perhaps, but otherwise just plenty of dry weather. Again, we may have problems with mist and fog and low cloud too. If we do get any fog, it could linger throughout much of the day. Otherwise, some brighter sunny spells are likely outside of those dense fog patches. And perhaps the fog most likely in the east, perhaps a little bit too much breeze in the west for too much in the way of fog there. Temperatures, again, any lingering fog, it's going to be cold, barely above freezing. Otherwise, seeing temperatures around 5 or 6 degrees. Moving through to Saturday, very little change. Again, we're very, very close to pulling in a genuine easy wind, but just not quite doing it. We have got a weather front out in the west. So again, I think west parts of the country will have some showery bursts of rain. We'll see that through Northern Ireland, Wales, some parts of southwestern England might have some showery rain on Saturday. Central and eastern areas, lots of dry and quiet weather, mix of low cloud, mist, fog, maybe some bright or sunny spells coming through as well. Perhaps a little bit more breeze on Saturday, so I would think less of a concern about mist and fog then, but probably quite a lot of cloud nevertheless. Temperatures overall quite coldish really, so ranging from sort of freezing, again where any fog is lingering, to probably around 2 to 6 degrees across most parts of the country. Things finally start to liven up on Sunday, courtesy of this deepening area of low pressure around Iceland and Greenland. That's going to start to freshen the wind in the north and west and bring wet and windy weather in from off the Atlantic. Most places will start Sunday very dry and quiet. Again, we may have problems with fog over in the south and the east of the country in particular. Through the day, I think we find wind freshening across Scotland and Northern Ireland becoming strong and gusty, maybe up to gale force, with those winds in the north and west by the end of Sunday afternoon. Also seeing a band of heavy rain moving into western Scotland and Northern Ireland. England and Wales will keep it mostly dry and quiet throughout the course of Sunday. Temperatures again overall quite cold, central eastern parts of the country at around 3 to 6 degrees, but it will be milder in the west as the wind and rain arise. Temperatures probably moving up towards 8 or 9 degrees Celsius. That weather front moves across the country on Sunday night and into Monday, and following along behind will be a much stronger and colder northwesterly wind. So a wet and windy start to Monday. Could be gale force winds and heavy rain sweeping across the country. Much more lively weather to end the 5-day forecast period. That rain might linger over in the east for quite some time. Following behind will be much brighter skies, but also colder temperatures. And so as showers pack in on the strong to gale force west to northwesterly winds across Scotland and Northern Ireland, they will turn increasingly wintry. Expect snow down to low levels across Scotland, Northern Ireland, possibly parts of northwest England and Wales by the end of Monday afternoon. Temperatures may start off very mild at around 10 degrees on Monday, but they'll fall back to around 6 or 7 in the south, and in the north it will be a cold day with temperatures of just 2 or 3 degrees at best. And that does set the scene for next week, which looks like being quite a cold, unsettled week with a risk of some quite substantial snow perhaps up in the north especially. Finally, just have a look at the charts from Weather Outlook. So lots of quiet weather coming up today. We have got the rain lingering in the east. Plenty of quiet weather on Thursday and on Friday too. Remember, this doesn't show the low cloud, mist and fog, so not necessarily all that representative this of what you can expect on Thursday and Friday. I suspect it will be a lot gloomier than you will think by looking at that. Quiet conditions mainly continuing Saturday as well, and then Sunday, well, eventually it begins to turn wet and windy in the north and west, and that leads us into quite a wet and windy day on Monday, with the rain pushing eastwards across the country, and then following behind will be colder temperatures and wintry showers. So in summary, we're going to be looking at a fairly quiet 5 days coming up until the very end. We've got some rain in the east today, but otherwise a reasonable amount of dry weather over the next 5 days. The main problem is going to be low cloud, mist and fog, and that could be really quite troublesome for parts of the country with some dense fog, maybe lingering all day, making for quite a cold and miserable feel through to the weekend. Those conditions continue into the start of the weekend, and then it turns increasingly wet and windy from the north and west by the end of Sunday. Those wet and windy conditions sweep across the country for Monday, followed by much colder northwesterly winds and heavy wintry showers in the north and the west. And we'll pick up the story beyond the 5-day forecast period in today's second video update, which will be coming up this afternoon. That's all for now, and thanks for watching.